165 millimeter cranks is a huge topic of discussion. Do you need them? Should you buy them? Tadej Pogacar uses them. He wins every single race he rides in. Will it make you ride like Tadej Pogacar? Well, in this video, I'm here to tell you my experience with the 165 millimeter cranks. I've been riding them now for over a year, and I've been in the bicycle industry for over 13 years. And I've had all my experiences with all the different type of fit trends out there. From even me starting out riding 175 millimeter cranks, because that used to be the it thing to do, by having a longer lever of a crank arm. They say that you're going to get more power on there. Also, the old trend of being on 44 millimeter handlebars would widen your breathing cavity, make it able to get better breaths, and also having better lung capacity. Even at some points, I think Tom Boonen was running 46 centimeter bars in the Paris-Roubaix as well, and we've seen those fads come and go. There's always going to be this new thing out there. There's always going to be these different types of tests out there, and some stick and some do not. So for the longest time, the only time that 165 millimeter cranks were talked about was on extra small bikes, women's bikes, any time that it came about. It was never something that anyone thought would actually be superior or more efficient for a tall rider or other riders out there. You don't have to be tall. I'm 6 foot. I never thought in my life I'd be riding 165. When this craze came about, I was not about it. A little bit about me. I have been to the fit courses over at Specialized, the 1, the 2, the 3 for Retool, for Try, and also the Basic Fit. I have been doing fits on people's bicycles very casually. I also do my own fit on my bicycle as well. I do have a herniated L5 disc in my lower back with the full sciatica nerve pain running down my left leg. That comes and goes. That was when I was 21 years old, and I had to deal with that with physical therapy. I have a bulging L4 as well, so that causes me a little bit of pain there. But a lot of these problems I do on my bike are usually self-inflicted because I want to look cool. So you can see here I have, I'm riding a size 56 bike, which I could get away with riding a size 58. I want to run lower stem spaces on here because I want to look cool. I run a 110 stem with a 90 reach. If it's a shorter reach, I'll run a 120 on there. And again, these are more self-inflicted issues. But on longer rides back in the day, and whenever I used to copy this same system with the shorter spacers and longer stem, my lower back would flare up a lot. And since going to 165, it has helped that out tremendously. So let me show you guys what I'm talking about. All right, so for the longest time, I want to say like 5, 6, 7 years, I was running 172.5 cranks. That's what I always was been on. That's what a size 56 came with, and that was it. And one thing I can tell you about the bicycle industry or your cycling experience, your fit is going to change no matter what. You're going to get maybe more aggressive. You're going to get maybe more out of shape. You're going to try different things out. Your knee's going to start bothering you when it's not supposed to start bothering you. Your lower back's going to start bothering you. So you're always going to be playing around with different fits, always. It's never going to stay the same. I hate to tell you that, but that's just what it is. I've messed around with cleat positions. I've tried different shoes. I've tried Varus and Valgris wedges. Yeah, I've tried cleat stacks. I've done a bunch of things. I have one, my right leg is like a little bit taller than my left leg because of the way I stand and also pelvic rotation. So, you know, I've messed around with a couple different things. But the reason why I went to 165 was that by doing so from 172.5 crank, I was able to go ahead with putting the 165s on, lower my seat by that 7.5 millimeters, which is not a lot, but lowering my seat, then again, making it a little bit more level with the handlebars on here. Now, when I'm riding, I aim for a 90 cadence. So when I get on the bike, that's what I like to aim for. That's just what I like. I don't know why, but that's just what I like to aim for. It's a good cadence, and I like it a lot. So with the 165 cranks as well, I felt like I was able to achieve that easier because the rotations are much quicker, in my opinion. It's not this more longer drawn out rotation as well. And also going to a 165 crank, like I said, because I like to run a little bit lower spacer system on my handlebar, my knees, now I'm not a slim guy, I do have a gut, my knees were going into my lunge muscle. And what I mean by that is, like, let's say you're on a ride or a group ride or whatever. You're riding, okay? As the group ride starts to pick up, I want to get in a more aero optimized position. So what I do, I go down to my drops and I try to get as low as possible. Hang on. With the 172.5 cranks, that was becoming a problem. I'm not flexible either, and my hip angle, my hip flexibility was coming up higher because that 172.5 crank was taller. So this allows me to go lower and be more comfortable on the bike in a more lower aggressive position. Also, like I mentioned before with my lower back pain, since doing this 165 crank change, I have not noticed my lower back hurting as much. It never was a problem really on the bike. It was always after the bike. The bike rides throughout the day, I would notice it more and more. You know, that achy kind of feeling to it. But I'll say this, I don't know if it's placebo, I don't know what it is, but just think about it. Your legs are all, your whole body is connected. Your legs are connected to your core, to your lower back, to your upper body. So if everything's more stretched out and my legs are doing a bigger rotation each time, and it's yanking on this lower back, the 165 is a more controlled rotation, which I felt like was more controlled for my sit bone area, and I didn't have as much strain on my lower back. So I really did like that feeling. Also, when doing the 165, I've always been a huge advocate for zero offset post. So I felt like that going forward, whenever you move closer to the front end of the bike and get more over your cranks, you want to go with a shorter crank arm length, because of the fact that it just you know, whenever you get close to the front of the bike, you don't want to have these knees up in your area. So this is pretty much how I ride in the hoods, just like so. Now I do have very long legs, I have very long femurs, very long tibias, and I have very long arms. I think my torso is pretty small, but it has been an amazing experience from what I'm used to riding with the 172.5 cranks. Now, it's not all fine and dandy. I will say this. Also being in the situation of a 172.5, it is a longer lever for sprinting. So, in theory, and this is not in theory, my sprints when I used to have my 172.5 cranks would be like 1100, 1150. With 165, I'm like 1000, 1050, but I'm not sprinting. I'm not sprinting for anything. And a sprint is only for one part of that second, or a group ride, or if you're racing, it's only for that one part. So, you know, hopefully in that race, you have the legs to go ahead and beat that guy. Yeah, the extra wattage is good, but also the idea behind that is that with that smaller crank arm, you can maybe boost up your cadence, or maybe ride at a more efficient cadence for whatever you like to ride, at your riding style. And it's going to help you achieve your top end speed faster. You don't have to put down as much power, but if you can get a nice rotation going, you can build up to the speed that you want to go ahead and obtain. So I have absolutely loved the change to the 165 cranks. It's not for everyone. I know Jonas Vingegaard just came out saying he's running 150 cranks on there, but I absolutely love it. Now also, you guys might notice my seat height might seem a little bit lower. I've been messing around with that because I've been seeing more and more pros. Back in the day, a good optimal knee bend angle was like 30 degrees from hip to knee to the ankle bone there. But now we're seeing more and more pros go to like a 40 and lower for a little bit more of power in the quads and glutes and everything. So it is something that a lot of people have come into my bike store and asked me about. I'm seeing a lot of people who are enthusiasts right away as soon as they get their new bikes. No matter what it is, how tall they are, they want the 165 cranks. But I really did experience it with comfortability and also my lower back pain. And another thing is too, I don't know if this applies to this as much, but think about it this way. And this is a good way to think about it. I like working out my upper body a lot, okay? My upper body a lot. I like working out in general. So, crank rotation, small rotation, not utilizing the muscle as much, it won't get fatigued as fast. So if I'm doing a bunch of bicep curls like this, and I'm going all the way down and all the way up, like a bigger rotation, my muscles will definitely get fatigued faster if I'm doing the right form. But if you tell me to take that same weight and go to here, I can do more reps and don't get burned out as quickly. So I also, at the end of the rides, it could be attributed to me riding more often, obviously, that's usually the case, but my legs don't feel as burnt out by the end of the ride. I feel a little bit more fresher towards the end of the ride. And I want to say that it is a combination of riding more and also the 165 cranks, but it has been a very enjoyable experience. So if you are considering it, talk with your fitter, talk with whoever you go ahead and work with your bikes with, and give it a shot. I know it's an expensive decision to do so, but I cannot advocate more that my lower back has felt better since doing this switch. My legs don't feel as worn out, my hips don't feel as bad. It's been great for me. So this is my experience with 165 cranks. I absolutely love it. It's not for everybody. You don't have to go as extreme as 165. You can go try 170s if you're coming from 175. But it was a good call for me. So there's my story. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.